Ever since we've been discussing the 1920s, a couple of words keep cropping up. One of them is prohibition. I'm sure everybody knows what that means.
All them law-abiding citizens that couldn't abide by the law.
The other is prosperity. The Coolidge prosperity, the Hoover prosperity. Paul, what does that word mean?
Well, when something prospers, it grows quicker than anybody expects it to.
Like Bernie's hair.
Anyway, in the 1920s, everything seemed to be growing bigger, better, and faster.
Right. 2 cars in every garage, 2 chickens in every pot.
That's right. But we can't talk about prosperity and ignore the stock market. Now, you remember during the 19th century, the big dream was finding gold. Then it was oil. Well, in the 20s, the stock market seemed to offer everybody a chance to get rich quick just by phoning a broker.
That's how everybody ended up. Broker.
Almost everybody.
How could so many people be suckered into a deal like that?
Well, prosperity is more than just dollars and cents. It's a state of mind.
It just doesn't seem real.
It doesn't seem real to you because it was 40 years ago, and you've never been in a situation like that.
Mr. Dixon, I don't ever expect to be.
I wouldn't be too sure. You see, I have this little project in mind. I want each of you to take $1,000, an imaginary $1,000, and invest it in the market.
My broker just jumped out of the window.
You'll find all the stocks listed in here and in your newspapers. So you check them out, call a brokerage house, do some research, then invest your $1,000.
There's just one thing to know, Mr. Dixon.
And what might that be, Jason?
Don't nobody beat the system.
I was just reading that a frown takes twice as many muscles as a smile.
My muscles can use the exercise. This thing is incredible.
School budget?
No, it's an operational analysis of Walt Whitman. But the absenteeism,
Is it that bad?
it's up 5%.
I didn't realize there were that many kids out of school.
Kids? What kids? I'm talking about faculty absenteeism.
Attention, please. Will the following students please report at once to the assistant principal? Abernathy, Code, Rabbits, Link, Carson, Kenyon, Locke, Pond, Sompton, Jones, Lefkowitz.
Oh, those guys, they're always in trouble.
Shall we start the meeting?
What'll somebody trade me for a hard-boiled egg?
A piece of celery.
I call the meeting of the junior class gift committee to order.
Oh, come on. Won't somebody make me a better deal for this delicious, nutritious hen fruit?
A half a baked bean sandwich?
Treasurer's report.
Mr. Chairman, as of this date, the gift fund treasury has $479.33.
The following students will report at 1:30 to the athletic field. Hawley, Jackson, Ingalls, Locke, and Merritt. This announcement will not be repeated.
$476.25 has been earmarked for the class gift, a 20-volume set of encyclopedias of science, leaving a balance of $3.08.
Oh, come on, somebody. I hate hard-boiled eggs.
Tuna salad on whole wheat.
It's a deal.
Okay. Look, I had a summit meeting with Miss Schultz in the school library, and she agreed to find room for the gift.
Find room?
Yes, even if it means moving her bound copies of Popular Mechanics.
Well, big deal.
You see, not even the library wants the books.
Look, the encyclopedia is a very worthwhile gift.
Do you know what the junior class at Halstead is giving their school? An air purifier. Every time somebody takes a breath over there, they're going to remember who bought it.
Boy, who'll remember us?
All them people who couldn't find the bound copies of Popular Mechanics.
Look, an air purifier is very expensive.
I just wish there was something.
This is your principal speaking. I'm asking all students to please stop dropping empty lunch bags in the halls and use the cans provided. Thank you.
Hey, why don't we buy an intercom for the school?
That's something we really need.
Now that would be appreciated.
I know this guy who knows a guy, and I'm sure we can get a discount.
Yeah, but I thought it was all settled.
Well, what do we got to lose, Miss Johnson?
I move to Larry talks to the guy who knows the guy.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Crazy.
I bet you don't
know. Okay, how's everybody doing on the stock market? Helen?
I'm about $25 ahead.
That must be the $25 I lost.
How about you, Jason?
I can't get with the whole thing, man. It doesn't make sense to me.
Why?
If you really buying, man, you pick up a telephone. You call a man. You may have never met him before. And you say, buy me some stock.
Okay.
Okay, that's what he says. Now you're on part of some company.
Right.
Okay, 2 days later, man, that same part of that same company ain't even worth half as much.
Oh, that happens.
How can that be?
Well, the company is probably worth the same as it was before. But what's changed is the people's judgment of that worth.
That same part of that same company could be worth twice as much, too.
Not if I'm holding, man.
How have you been doing, Paul?
I guess you'd say I'm bullish, Mr. Dixon.
Why?
Well, I talked to a couple of brokers and my uncle at the bank. From what they told me and from what I read, I made my investments. So far, I've got a total profit of $547.
Made that in 1 week?
Miss Johnson, in just a few days of playing the stock market, Paul has made over $600.
On paper.
Yeah, but what does the stock market have to do with our gift committee?
Well, if you can do it with funny money, why not the real thing?
Yeah, for the quality intercom system the size we need is going to cost over $900.
That's nearly twice as much money as we have.
Yeah, but what happened to the guy you know who knew a guy?
That guy doesn't know him anymore.
We don't have a lot of time to make that much money. But to go into the stock market to raise money is just out of the question.
Sure the figures, Paul.
He's made more than $50 in the past 2 hours just sitting in class.
Wait, you have? Well, now wait. It is your money, and you raised it. You have the right to decide what to do with it.
We've decided.
Now look, I don't deny that it would be nice to have a new intercom. Or if you would have invested your money last week, you'd have enough money this week to buy it. I mean, it's a marvelous surprise. I mean, nobody'd expect a new intercom, but
What, Miss Johnson?
I am your faculty advisor. And I think I better get some advice. Hi. Hey, I need some advice.
You've come to the fountainhead.
Shall we take turns?
Look, I'm very interested in the stock market.
The stock market? Have you been talking to some of the kids in my class?
As a matter of fact, yes.
I think everybody should know something about the stock market.
Do you really think so, Mr. Kaufman?
You may quote me.
I finally got into a mutual fund.
I think at your age, you ought to diversify your portfolio. Hedge with a few blue chips. Include some long-term capital gains, but don't confine yourself to one exchange. Keep an eye out for over-the-counter buys.
Over the counter?
A stock's not listed on the big exchanges.
And don't forget tax-free bonds.
Are all those things better than mutual funds?
No.
Golly, you sound like a man who really knows the stock market, Mr. Kaufman.
My brother-in-law's a broker.
Hey, I've got a class, but I can't tell you how much help you've been. Especially you, Mr. Kaufman.
I had no idea you were such an expert. Are you really making money at it?
Well, I've never lost any money. Of course, I've never actually bought any stocks either.
Listen. We're all interested in the environment, right?
Right.
Okay, now here's a stock called Rare Air.
Now, just wait a minute. I mean, I'm interested in the environment and in peace and in women's lib, but right now I'm interested in buying a stock that's going to double our money fast, right?
I think we should invest the whole thing in Will Groco.
Will Groco?
Sounds like a fertilizer.
It's a small company specializing in pipe fittings. My uncle at the bank has some inside information. Will Groco is about to merge with one of the big oil companies.
And when the news come out, in orbit it goes, right?
My uncle thinks we can double or triple our money in the next couple of weeks if we buy now at $10 a share.
Setting up for me, man.
Well, let's buy it.
Right.
It's unanimous.
Not with me, it ain't.
Come on, Jason.
Hey, I didn't ask to be on this committee.
Well, you're on it, so vote.
I vote no.
Yes!
Well, that's the system.
Miss Johnson, on behalf of the junior class, we hereby authorize you to put our money into the market.
All right. I guess we don't have too much to lose.
Only $479.33.
Everybody. The Bama State Style Marathon, Saturday at noon, only on Aspire.
Oh, good morning, Mr. Kaufman. Good morning.
The Wall Street Journal? Boring from within, Clever.
Today's market opened sluggish with the Dow Jones down 3 points in light trading. Industrials down 0.07, transportation down 2.36.
You really got those kids interested in the stock market. I'm impressed.
Thank you.
Attention, all members of the junior class gift committee. Special noon meeting in Miss Johnson's room. This is an emergency.
What's the matter with Alice?
Well, being class gift advisor has been known to do that to teachers.
I see.
A drop of 2 1/8 in one day.
Wow, do you know what that means in dollars and cents?
Means we've lost $100.
Only if we sell.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, man, that's double talk. I'm no genius, but I know 350 less than 450.
Wait a minute. My uncle told me that a drop like this isn't unusual. You've got to look at the big picture.
I've looked at the big picture, and I see us being chased out of town by the junior class.
I guess we gotta sell, huh?
I think that'd be a mistake.
If we sell now, we can't even buy the encyclopedia.
We can always get a 10-year subscription to the Wall Street Journal.
Now I know why people jumped out of windows in 1929.
Now, wait. This is no time for panic.
It's as good a time as any, Miss Johnson.
I ain't gonna say I told you so, but I sure did.
Hey, Miss Johnson, are you going to get in trouble with Mr. Kaufman? Mr. Kaufman. Why didn't I think of him? Hey, I bet he'll know what to do in any stock market crisis. Terrific.
You know, this whole stock market business would never have occurred to the committee if it hadn't been for my class.
But you didn't actively participate in the speculation with the gift fund, did you?
No. But anyway, I'm here for moral support.
I admire a man who stays with a sinking ship. Miss Johnson, why didn't you just confide in somebody before you bought this Rococo or whatever it is?
Well, I was going to, but it all seemed like it would be such a nice surprise. And you seemed to think investing was really a good idea. And then if a man with your experience in the stock market thought that, then the bell rang.
Wait a minute. My experience in the stock market?
But all the things you said.
Oh, my. I led you on, right? Miss Johnson, my experience in the stock market consists of listening very carefully to my brother-in-law, the broker, until I fall asleep. Then when I wake up, if I have an urge to invest one dime, I go back to sleep again until the temptation goes away. All right. I'm not going to tell you what to do.
You're not?
Well, I can't. It's the student's money. But I'm certain that you, as a responsible member of my faculty, will advise the right thing. Sell.
Sell?
Well, while you still have enough money left to buy 10 volumes of the encyclopedia.
Thank you, Mr. Kaufman.
Alice Johnson, the plunger of Wall Street.
No, Will Groco. W-I-L-G-R-O-C-O. Can't find the quotations. Probably dropped right off the board.
Don't lose your enthusiasm.
I already have in the stock market. But can you speak a little louder, please? Thank you.
Well, what did the broker say?
No change in the last hour.
What are you going to tell Mr. Kaufman about not selling?
I'm going to tell him the truth. Tell him that I talked to Jimmy's uncle and he isn't worried. And then I'm going to tell him I followed his other advice.
Which was what?
Don't make any decisions till you sleep on it. Now, if a line of poetry is in pentameter, how many feet does that line have? Helen?
5.
Right. Now, if it's in hexameter, Bernie?
It's gotta be 6.
Correct. Thank you.
Miss Johnson, you know, another interesting thing about that operational analysis of Walt Whitman, it says that the average faculty member spends 1 to 7 hours a month either making personal phone calls or waiting to make them. Isn't that interesting?
Well, I was going to call the brokerage to see how Will Groco closed today.
Miss Johnson, look, take my advice. Once you sell a stock, forget about it. Don't worry about it anymore. All right. Come into my office. I'll make the call for you out of morbid curiosity. Simon? Seymour. Your brother-in-law, Simon. How many Seymours do you know? Get your head out of the Dow Jones. I'd like to ask you a question, please. What was the closing quotation on Will Groco, please? Will Groco. Thank you. 11 and a half?
11 and a half.
What are you so happy? You didn't take my advice.
I'm sorry, Mr. Kaufman, but I'm not sorry.
Sell!
No! You can't.
If you sell now, we can get all our money back and buy the encyclopedia.
We're not selling for any encyclopedias.
We're given a new intercom.
Or even something bigger.
Bigger?
Look who's joined the Bulls.
You gonna be a capitalist, Jason?
Man, the way Will Coco's moving, who knows? I might even vote to get us one of them air purifiers and an intercom.
Wait a minute. I share your enthusiasm, but let's be realistic.
Shoot. Miss Johnson, we can't sell now. We gotta hang in there. If there's one thing I know, it's when you're hot, you're hot.
Hi, fellas.
Mr. Dixon.
What's the problem, Larry?
We want to call our broker to find out how our stocks are doing.
So?
We don't have a dime.
We got bigger coins, man.
Well, I chip in a dime.
Thanks, Mr. Dixon.
We'll pay you back.
Oh, that's okay. I'm not going to think of it as a loan. I'm thinking of it as an investment.
An investment? In what?
Your education. Well, it's up another 2 points.
How many shares have you bought?
Oh, I never play the market. I just give people good advice like you do.
You'll never get rich, Pete.
I'll never get ulcers either. You know, you sound pretty hot on this Will Groco stock.
Well, Pete, maybe we're too conservative. Maybe these kids know something we don't know.
Maybe. But all I had in mind was a little classroom experiment, like what it's like to lay your money on the line.
So? They did.
Yeah, but I hate to see them get hurt. They worked hard for that money.
Pete, I mean, the school is going to get a new intercom.
I hope so.
You hope so?
What's wrong?
I don't feel too hungry anymore.
I think we should sell.
Oh, come on, man.
My uncle says it's easy to lose sight of why you went into the market in the first place.
To buy an intercom.
I say let's sell and buy it.
But we could buy something bigger.
Look, man, we could buy clean air for this school. All we need is a little more time.
I've got a suggestion. Why don't we sell enough of the stock to buy the intercom? And then we'll have enough in the market left for speculating. And later...
I'm for that.
4-2, Brother Bull. Looks like we're outnumbered.
Shoot.
Before we start class, Miss Johnson has a few words she wishes to share with you.
It's about the stock.
No air purifier.
No intercom?
No encyclopedia?
I'm afraid not. I couldn't sell the stock.
Why not?
Well, the Securities and Exchange Commission had complaints about possible illegal manipulations of Will Groco's stock. So, pending an investigation, they've frozen it.
We can't get our money out?
For how long?
Nobody knows. Weeks, months. In this case, maybe never. I'm sorry. But I thought you ought to know right away.
Hey, man, it's a good thing this room is no higher than the second floor.
The gift from the junior class to Walt Whitman High.
45 shares of Will Groco. Worthless.
Or worth more than $1,000. And only time and the SEC will tell.
That's what you're smiling about?
Oh, I think it's been a very valuable educational experience.
You can say that again.
Then why aren't you smiling?
The following students will report at 1:30 to the athletic field. Hawley, Jackson, Engels, Locke, and Merritt. This announcement will not be repeated.
wake up, the redcoats are coming. Paul Revere.
Not merely one man riding one horse on a certain lonely night of long ago, but a symbol to which his countrymen can yet turn. Paul Revere had started on a ride which has never really ended.
In more ways than one. You know, there's a sense of destiny in the air this morning. I can still smell it.
Well, I don't know who Whitman High's Paul Revere is, but he couldn't have picked a better ideal. Paul Revere was the greatest hero of the American Revolution.
I can't agree with that, Tim. He was an important figure, but there were many others who were more outstanding.
Lafayette?
Crispus Attucks.
Well, you can't compare them with Paul Revere. I mean, he was something greater than himself. He was a legend, a symbol. Well, he galloped right into history, art, folklore, poetry.
That was the trouble. He was romanticized out of proportion.
Romanticized? Well, he risked his life to save a lot of others, didn't he?
Yeah, but lots of people did that.
At least he didn't throw garbage all over people.
Well, maybe this Paul Revere is trying to warn us about something, too.
Like what?
Well, I don't know, but if it hadn't have been for Paul Revere, a lot of innocent people would have died in their sleep.
I sure like to get my hands on that garbage man.
I wonder what he's trying to prove.
Well, I don't think he's trying to prove anything. Rather, the ultimate gesture of contempt for a decaying society.
I think he's trying to just lay garbage on us, baby.
Yeah, I got ketchup all over my poncho. What a mess.
Are you still on Paul Revere? You know, I think you're making a big deal out of nothing.
You ever try to get egg salad out of an afro?
No, Jason, I can't say as I have.
I still smell like last week's cafeteria menu.
Look, you're all being so squeamish about this whole thing. It's so silly. Everybody getting so uptight about a little garbage. Oh!
Did you smell that stuff? It's just disgusting. Absolutely disgusting.
What's the matter? Has the phantom struck again?
Every sack of fertilizer in the gardener's shack has been cut open, and it's all over the place.
The girls' gymnasium is ready for planting.
And there are notes all over warning about using chemicals in fertilizer.
And if that's not bad enough, every tire on my car is flat with a note stuck to the windshield saying single-occupant driving leads to greater air pollution.
What is this guy, an anti-pollution Zorro or something?
It would be easier if he would just steal from the rich and give to the poor.
Something's got to be done, Mr. Kaufman. The next thing we know, he'll be burning down buildings.
Oh, come on, Miss Johnson, burning down buildings. I don't think it's as serious as all that. I think it's just some pranks to gain attention. I mean, after all, it is a worthy cause. We have to be a little tolerant.
Who, me?
You said he couldn't have picked a better ideal.
No chance, Mr. Dixon.
Whoever makes up these little notes really digs Paul Revere. Sort of like a symbol, you know?
You're kidding. Why would I want to go around doing things like that?
Maybe because you believe what you're doing might help. And it is an unusual kind of protest.
You really think so?
Is it you, Tim?
If I told you it was me, would you turn me in?
Well, I'm not interested in blowing anybody's cover. I came here to talk about Paul Revere.
Will you promise not to give me away?
Let's not play games, okay, Tim?
Will you promise?
Okay.
Mr. Dixon, I've got to wake everybody up, don't you see? It's a matter of life and death.
I said this was an interesting kind of protest, but I'm not sure I agree with it, even though I understand how you feel.
No, you don't understand. Nobody really does. I grew up not far from here. It was beautiful and clean. The air was clear. You could breathe without coughing. You could see without your eyes burning. I used to fish in a stream and catch frogs and play with them, study them. Now, all the fish and the frogs are dead or dying. And you know why? Because all kinds of factories are pouring filth into the stream. Mr. Dixon, nothing can live there anymore.
There are a lot of people working to do something about pollution.
Sure, low-lead gas that nobody buys, ballot propositions that can't get passed because people think it'll cost them more money.
Each new thing takes time and education. And, you know, propositions to help don't get passed because of special interest lobbies with a lot of power and money, which means that the people will just have to work harder to overcome them.
We haven't got the time. That's just it. We're being poisoned. We're dying. Mr. Dixon, you could mine the lead in our football field, We've got 100 times more of it in our bodies than we did 5 years ago. Along with carbon monoxide, hydrocarbons, sulfur dioxide, fly ash, asbestos particulates, and who knows what else.
Tim, you could do something about it without going outside of the law. Look, I'm on 3 committees working on pollution. There's a club here at the school. You know that. You could join.
Clubs, committees, talk, and no action. Everybody's talking, yet still nothing gets done. At least nothing that makes any significant change. We'll have to start dropping like flies before people wake up.
You think you're going to wake them up by throwing garbage on them?
Okay, so that seems a little crazy and melodramatic. But I figure maybe I can get some kids, people to think about what's going on a little more. Make them more aware.
Shock therapy, huh?
Why not? All the talk and good intentions won't mean a thing. People have got to get really mad and do something to get rid of it before it gets rid of them.
Tim, I appreciate what you're saying and what you're trying to do. But there's got to be another way to go about making the point.
Everything else has been tried, Mr. Dixon. The redcoats are coming. And the only thing left is to wake up or die. Mr. Dixon. Remember, you promised. Mr. Kaufman?
What are you doing with that can?
Just taking it outside for the teacher.
Oh, Richie's not the type.
You shouldn't creep up on a man like that, you know that.
Why are you so nervous?
But you know, I'm getting a little paranoid lately. Everybody, looks suspicious to me.
Well, don't look at me.
But you know something? I don't think you did it. But I just got a sneaking suspicion that you know who did.
I have never been on a horse in my life. Anyway, we haven't heard from our mystery crusader in over a week. Maybe he's given it up.
Oh, wouldn't that be wonderful? Let us cherish that thought. Maybe Paul Revere's finally been laid to rest.
In the hour of darkness and peril and need, the people will waken and listen to hear the hurrying hoofbeats of that steed and the midnight message of Paul Revere.
Tim, can I see you a minute? You know, even Longfellow made mistakes. He put Revere on the wrong side of the Charles River.
Well, I'm not making a mistake.
Have you read the morning paper?
Paul Revere strikes at plastic vermin and... well, they're finally getting the message.
And you could go to jail.
Well, they've got to catch me first. You know, you made me a promise.
Yeah, but this is going a little too far. It's one thing to play Paul Revere around the school, but fooling around with companies like Terrathon Plastics...
I'm not fooling around. I thought you understood, but you don't.
Oh, I said that there was another way to protest pollution.
Well, what better way can there be than right at the source? Whitman High is small potatoes, Mr. Dixon. Out there are the real polluters, the factories that are pouring filth into our water and air.
Tim, what you're doing may be a completely valid gesture, idealistically, but it's unlawful and dangerous.
Well, that's what they said about Paul Revere's ride.
Yeah, but he was only trying to wake people, not shock them into action. You gonna change the world overnight? What about the cost to yourself and your parents? What about them? Do they know what you're doing?
They got nothing to do with this.
They might feel differently about that.
It makes no difference what they think. I know what I've got to do.
What about your future? You could get shot.
Mr. Dixon, There isn't any difference between what happened 200 years ago and what's happening today, except that things may be a lot worse. You see, I just can't stand around and do nothing while factories like Terrathon are poisoning us all.
Tim, listen to me.
I'm tired of listening. You just talk like everybody else. You see, you don't really know what's happening. You just don't really care.
Tim? You don't really believe that, do you?
All right, then prove it to me. Why don't you just come with me and let me show you what it's really like, where it hits you right in the face so hard that you can't turn your back on it. Well, what do you say, Mr. Dixon? Will you come with me? Look at it. It's gum and inch thick. Smell it.
Yeah, I wish everybody could see this, including some of those people on my committee.
Stinking, filthy chemical waste just pouring into the stream, killing every living thing that used to thrive there. The factory's just over the hill. This pipe is like dozens of others, hundreds of others, just violating the laws of nature and threatening our very survival. Hey, I got a great idea. Let's plug it up.
Oh, Tim, knock it off.
Come on, Mr. Dixon, we can do it.
Tim, let's go.
Help me.
Tim, this is not the way.
Okay, you win. But I'll be back. You can count on that. You can't stop me. I'll be back.
It's the third such incident at the factory, Mr. Kaufman. As a representative of Terrathon Plastics, I'm conducting an official investigation along with Sergeant Grover of the Metropolitan Police.
Well, what makes you think a Walt Whitman High student did it?
Oh, we don't know for sure. But we understand you've been having some problems along the same line. And it was a teenager who was seen just outside the factory premises where one of our drain pipes was plugged up.
A security man saw a man and a boy.
Oh, there was a man. In other words, he wasn't alone.
The guard didn't get a good look at them, but he was sure it was a man and a boy.
Any other description?
Just that the man was black and about 6 feet tall.
When we catch this Paul Revere, there are a lot of things we can charge him or them with, including criminal damage to property.
I'm sure we can expect your cooperation in this, Mr. Kaufman. If you have any idea as to the identity of these persons, we'd like to know. No matter what their personal feelings may be about pollution, they are breaking the law.
Oh, yes. I'd be very happy to cooperate. Thank you.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
Gentlemen.
Thank you.
Pete, how tall are you?
5'11" and a half. Okay, so the kid wanted to show me the muck that Terrathon Plastics was pouring into the streams.
Pete, that's incredible. You went out there with that kooky kid?
He's not a kook. He's a bright kid. He's just appalled at pollution.
He's appalled. I'm appalled. Everybody's appalled, but we don't go to stuffing up drain pipes and throwing fish all over a lobby.
Well, he felt it would have shock value. And right or wrong, he's doing what he thinks will bring about some change.
Is that what you think? Did you help stuff up the drain pipe?
Of course not. I stopped him. He must have gone back.
Pete? Who is it?
I promised I wouldn't tell.
Oh, Pete, you've got to be kidding. You heard what Grover said. That kid can get you both arrested.
I promised before I realized he was going to take on the world.
Pete, I sure wish you'd tell me who it is.
I'd like to make one more try.
One more try to do what?
To try to get Paul Revere on the right side of the Charles River.
Pete, if you've known who it is all along, you must have had plenty of chances. Now, if you haven't been able to do it up till now, the police know that he's here. You gotta be running out of time.
One last try, and if I can.
If you can't, then you tell me who it is.
Oh, hi, Mr. Dixon.
Hi, Donna. Is Tim around?
Oh, no, he's gone home.
You've been going with Tim for quite some time now, haven't you?
Yes, I have.
He's quite a young man. Bright, aware, dedicated.
Yes, he sure is.
Maybe too dedicated.
I don't know what you mean.
Well, I think you do. You know those midnight rides of his?
He only wants to help Mr. Dixon.
I know. He's a very idealistic boy. I just hate to see him get hurt.
Why, do you think he will?
Well, running around those factories with armed guards and sentry dogs and electric fences, anything could happen.
Well, he promised me he wasn't going to do that anymore. He said he was going to this home.
Going where?
Nothing, I can't tell you.
Listen, Donna, I'm only trying to help. Now, I want to find Tim before he gets himself into some serious trouble. Now, what do you say?
Well, it's the owner of the plastic factory.
Calvin? Yes, can I help you?
My name is Pete Dixon. I'm a teacher from Walt Whitman High.
Oh. Has this something to do with Paul Revere?
Yes, it does.
Well, then, won't you come in?
Can I offer you a drink, Mr. Dixon?
Oh, no.
Well, I'm going to have one. What's on your mind?
Mr. Calvin, Well, actually, I came here because I heard that Paul Revere intended to make his point closer to home.
Oh, he did? Well, I'm happy to report there were no premature Halloween pranks around here.
Well, that's a relief.
Let's sit down.
Mr. Calvin, these aren't Halloween pranks. They're attempts, strange as they may seem, to make you and others aware of the damage being done to our environment.
I'm already aware of those things, but cures can't be made overnight. They're very costly.
I've told Paul Revere that.
You know who he is?
Yes. But I'm sworn to secrecy.
Well, you could be prosecuted for withholding information. Aren't you aware of that?
Yeah. But if Paul Revere can risk being drawn and quartered, I guess I can risk a little something, too.
I'd say you'd be risking quite a lot.
Mr. Calvin, I don't intend to sit here and give you a lecture on pollution. I think you've seen it, smelled it, and read about it. But I would like you to try and understand this kid and his feelings and why he's doing what he's doing.
It isn't easy, Mr. Dixon. When I was his age, all I cared about was football and panty raids.
True. But the kids today face dangers and threats to their existence that never touched you and me. They're just starting their lives, and they're trying to make their lives decent and long-lasting against indifference, stubborn resistance, repression. Can we really blame them for their impatience? You know, we consider Paul Revere a rebel, someone outside of the law who's threatening the status quo. But the fact is that he's really a hero. He's risking his life for something he believes in, protesting something that he believes is going to endanger all of us. And I just cannot accept treating him like a criminal.
Mr. Dixon, I never enter into a negotiation with someone as persuasive as you without my lawyer being present.
Well, thank you. But I promise I won't hold you to anything.
It's difficult for a man of my temperament to admit he's been guilty of neglect. But I promise you, and Paul Revere, that the conditions which he described will be cleared up as quickly as possible.
I think you'll be glad to hear that.
Somebody clogged it up.
You okay?
I don't know yet.
He had no way of knowing you had a change of heart.
There he goes. Oh, I think we missed him.
Is it worth owning a car when there's no blue sky to drive under? Paul Revere.
Would you happen to have a pump? I sure do. And I'll lend it to you if you help me clean up the fish and my chimney.
It's a deal. And that, my children, ends the story of the midnight ride of Paul Revere.
And Mr. Calvin agreed not to throw the chemicals in the stream and everything?
That's right, and they're buying a new process for converting waste, all due to our mysterious crusader.
Mysterious to everybody except you.
Well, I was hoping you were willing to leave it that way under the circumstances.
Well, I guess I have to admit he did do some good.
Curious again!
Oh, no.
Look out!
No, wait a minute. Now, hold it. Don't litter my children, or you shall hear of the reappearance of Paul Revere.
May I?
Tell me where we're going.
I don't mind, if you don't mind spoiling my surprise.
Okay, since you put it that way.
What do you know about the FCC?
Oh, the Federal Communications Commission? Well, it controls everything that goes over the airwaves. You know, radio, television.
Wonderful. I knew you were just the man for the job.
thought we already had a first-rate janitor.
We do. What we need is someone to supervise this little addition to our extracurricular activity.
A radio station?
That's right. Well, it's only 10 watts FM. We're not exactly the answer to KABC. But if you knew how long I've been trying to get this thing for us.
How'd you do it?
Well, you see, this month, City College goes AM. So we just happened to inherit their license and their equipment, thanks to Morris Henry.
The school board, Morris Henry?
Same one.
Don't tell me. He's coming up for re-election next month.
Don't get cute, Pete. Just run the station. Okay?
Well, I hate to shake your faith in my technological expertise, but I don't even know how to turn this thing on.
You'll learn. It's nothing. Look, here, bone up on the FCC regulations, and don't panic. I'm providing you with a first-rate qualified assistant.
Who?
Alice Johnson.
Hi, Ken. Hi.
Oh, hi. How you doing?
Good. Okay, does anyone here know someone with a third-class radio license?
Hey, me. I got one last year.
Ooh, Bernie, I didn't know you were ham.
Then you're the only one.
All right, man. Come on. You come here and work the thing.
I'm gonna be the disc jockey. Yes, sir, kiddies. This is your resident keener soul, bringing you the tunes to swoon, the beat that's neat, and the jive that's always alive.
No. You're not getting it. The purpose of these study teams is to really dig into local government, visit sessions, ask questions. And I warn you, don't be intimidated by politicians and don't be scared off by their rhetoric.
So what you're saying is dig beneath the words.
Right. And as future voters, find out what's going on behind all of those bureaucratic doors. Well, it's almost time for the bell to ring, so since many of you are going to be at City Hall this afternoon, we'll break early.
Hey, listen, don't forget to tell everybody we start broadcasting this afternoon. See?
Quiet, everybody. This is it.
You're listening to KWWH 92.5 FM, the voice of Radio Free Walt Whitman High.
Remember radio? This is Racing Jason telling you to keep cool in the motor pool. It's alive and well right here at Walt Whitman High, where music is keen and rock is our thing.
Thank you. I'm starving to death.
Well, you better eat on the run. Guess who wants to see you in his office right now?
Pete, it is not that I disapprove of the format you've chosen.
I didn't choose anything. You put me in charge, and I let the students select their own programming.
Will you let me finish my cop-out? Nor is it that I personally may dislike some of that music. But I just feel that we have a responsibility to the public.
What about the students? How much interest do you think there'll be in that station if we start playing censor?
Peter, I wasn't censoring.
Good.
I mean, I was suggesting a little variety in the format, maybe some public service programs.
Maybe we'll integrate some of the work we're doing with local government.
That's fine. See, that's just perfect. I mean, Gad, nobody's ever called me a censor before. That's a terrible word.
Yes, isn't it?
Free milk, free lunch. How about free pot? This idealistic new generation expects everything to be given to them. Let's not disappoint them.
Mr. Henry?
Yes.
Mr. Henry, don't you think we should discuss this lunch program seriously? To make sure we're all in agreement on what's going on.
What about free matches and a do-it-yourself kit for burning down the school of your choice?
There's your public service programming, Mr. Dixon. Walt Whitman visits a school board.
That's it. We can edit the tapes into 5 5-minute programs.
Yeah.
What you say, Mr. Dixon?
Come on, Mr. Dixon.
Well, you all certainly seem to be enthused about it.
Right. Isn't it our responsibility to let the public know what's going on?
Well, I guess we're about to start some public service programming.
Watch out, Morris Henry. We're going to sock it to you.
You know, something tells me we're about to bite the hand that feeds us.
Take a look at maybe, but not bite.
Oh, really? Am I talking to the same Pete Dixon who once said, somebody's got to knock that phony out of office even if I got to run against him myself?
Yeah, but that was a long time ago.
That was only 2 years ago when Morris Henry was reelected. And Pete, that same perverse little twinkle that was in your eye then is there now.
Mr. Kaufman's office, please. Pete Dixon.
Yes, Pete.
We have that public service program that you wanted. And it's going on the air in 15 minutes. I thought you'd like to hear it first.
I trust your judgment, Pete. I'm really busy right now.
Mr. Kaufman, your noon appointment is here.
Send him right in, please. Pete, I really got to go. I'll talk to you later. Morris, nice of you to drop in.
Seymour, I've only got a minute, but I thought I'd drop by to see how you were doing with the little radio station I presented you with. By the way, I brought along Joe Duggan of the press. Come in, Joe. I thought a little publicity was in order. Never hurts to get your picture in the paper, as long as they spell your name right, huh?
Morris, you're incorrigible.
Go. Get it, man. You're on.
Anytime you're ready, son. Thank you. That'll be all, Joe. Now, I have to run along, too, Seymour. I'm sorry.
Morris, run along. You just got here. Aren't you even going to see the radio station?
Life is short. As the poet says, I have appointments to keep and miles to go before I sleep.
Morris, you've got a few minutes to hear the noon broadcast.
A few minutes I can spare if you hurry it up. Where's this loudspeaker here?
Right here, right here.
Turn it on, turn it on. Good. That's good. Good and clear. It's a little loud, but it's clear, isn't it? Now, I've got to go. I've heard all this
Will you
before.
just be patient a moment, please? I don't want you to hear just rock and roll. There's a public service program coming on.
Right,
I want you to hear it. I'm anxious to hear it
apoplexy.
myself.
I'll listen. Just see if you can hurry him along.
Hi. I have an appointment with Mr. Kaufman about the field trip. I'm afraid he's busy right now. He's in there with Mr. Henry listening to the radio.
Mr. Henry? You mean Morris Henry, the school board?
Right.
Oh, no!
And now the special public affairs program for KWWH-FM.
In the belief that you, the public, have a right to the facts, KWWH-FM brings you the first of a series of 5 programs on your school board in action. As a part of the civics class project, students from Walt Whitman attended 3 sessions of the school board. What you're about to hear are 3 excerpts from those sessions.
Morris Henry.
What about it?
He's in Mr. Kaufman's office listening to the program. Oh, but don't you think we should cut in and say we're having a technical difficulty or something?
We could, but we're not.
When pressed by board member Loomis for continued debate on the school lunch program, Chairman Morris Henry replied,
How about free matches and a do-it-yourself kit for burning down the school of your choice? I gave you a radio station, and you had the gall to use it against me. You had the gall to attack me politically with my own gift.
Mr. Henry, all our kids did was hold a mirror up to you. Now, if you don't like the image, it's not our fault.
You deliberately edited that program, and my words, to give a false impression and to turn the public against me, and you cannot deny that.
Would you like a rebuttal? We'll be happy to give you the time.
No, thank you. I do not wish to appear on your station. Now, gentlemen, let me make one thing perfectly clear. Game time is over. I'm going to return here at 3 o'clock, and at that time, I want every one of those tapes placed in my hands.
Don't give me any ultimatums, Morris.
All right, let's put it another way, Seymour. There are 8 other high schools in this district which are begging for radio facilities. The decision is yours.
Mr. Kaufman, there are a few calls.
Will you hold the calls for Pete's sake? Oh. I'm sorry. I'm very, very sorry.
Well, do we give him the tapes?
We don't. We lose the station. I hate to lose that station.
But the man's wrong. You know what kind of man he is.
I know. I wish I didn't also know that you've been an outspoken critic of his ever since the election.
You think that I'm using that station to attack him?
Had crossed my mind. Are you?
No. I'd like to, but I'm not. You see, I didn't put those words in that man's mouth.
Oh, yeah, Pete, but you know what you can do with tape editing. You know how you can make a man look. Your students edited that tape, and you okayed the final product. You know that if there's any doubt, if you were using those tapes to ruin him politically, you got no right to run them.
You may find this hard to understand, but I've decided to cancel the rest of the series.
I don't get it, Mr. Dixon. Here we done something, not just talk about it, but done something to show the public what's going on. And you're telling us that's wrong.
Not wrong, Jason. Just one-sided.
Translated, that means you're free until you disagree?
No. What it means is that I'm not sure we didn't edit out a little something called objectivity and edit in our own personal feelings about Mr. Henry. I'm not just talking to you, I'm talking to me, too.
Look at it this way. There'll be other programs.
Why bother? They'll just shoot us down again. We know how it is, Mr. Dixon. The classroom's one thing, but the big bad world, that's something else.
Well, for what it's worth, I'm sorry. But, I'll be back here at 3 o'clock to pick up the tapes.
Well, you know what they say. Sometimes we all have to compromise our ideals a little. You know, live to fight another day and all that.
With the disappearance of the buffalo, the Indians' days were numbered. Though many dreamt of the buffalo's return, it was only a dream.
Thank you, Larry. Any questions? Jason?
This isn't about the buffalo. It's about something you said the other day when we were talking about who we can believe.
Go ahead.
Well, the way I interpret what you said is that we got these different loyalties to our parents, to our school, to our country, our job.
That's right.
But sometimes it don't jive. So what I'm trying to say is this. If our first loyalty is to us, and your first loyalty is to you, then you got to do what you got to do. And we got to do what we got to do, right?
That's right. Providing you're willing to pay the price. And there usually is one. Oh, Jason. Just what are you driving at?
I just want to make sure I got the whole message, man.
There you are, Dixon. I'm sure by now you realize what an unkind thing you were trying to do to me. I don't apologize. I just want you to remember one day that it was I who saved you from the worst pitfall in the teaching profession. Ivory tower politics.
I don't believe it.
What's that supposed to mean?
After everything that's happened, you're still trying to get my vote.
Thank you. Thank you. Boys and girls, I understand you have some tapes to turn over to me.
Tapes? What tapes?
The school board tapes Mr. Dixon told you to have here by 3.
I thought he told you, Helen.
Not me. Well, didn't he tell you, Pam?
Oh, that's right. I did have them, but I was late for my Hey, Larry, I gave those to you.
Oh, those tapes. Well, I put them right here. Somebody must have moved them.
Moved them? Copped them. I swear, Mr. Henry, you just can't trust nobody these days.
All right, there, son. I guess the play period is over, and unless those tapes are put in my hands inside of 1 minute, you'll never work in this district again.
Suppose I tell you that we're thinking of making copies of those tapes and handing them over to the biggest station in this town.
You wouldn't.
No, I wouldn't. But if we did, you'd have a much rougher time muzzling them, wouldn't you?
This is your KWWH on the spot where it's hot newscaster, Racing Jason, bringing you this live debate. Switch it, baby.
Do you know what you're doing? You could get expelled for this.
Like the man said, if you're willing to pay the price.
But those remarks were made in jest. I mean, your program makes it sound like I don't want those kids to have decent food.
Do you? Do you really care about the kids who can't afford lunch?
Of course I care. I'm a responsible elected official. But I will not condone freeloaders and massive handouts and irresponsible behavior. That's all.
We gave you a chance to make a rebuttal on the air. You wouldn't take it.
Of course I wouldn't. I have the privilege of choosing the forums for my public appearances, and this Mickey Mouse high school radio station is not... My...
We paused in our debate to bring you this musical interlude.
You knew we were on the air.
As a matter of fact, Mr. Henry, I didn't.
As for you, Kaufman, I want to make this crystal clear. You are going to walk the plank.
Morris, if I get one more ultimatum from you, one more threat to get rid of me, I'm going to jump at the opportunity.
Don't have to jump.
If you will be quiet for a moment, you just might learn that for some reason I will never understand. The gods have chosen to smile on you again. You've come up smelling like a rose from this thing.
What does that mean?
That means that my switchboard has been jammed with calls all day from people that heard the noon broadcast and are dying to hear more.
You crucified me, sir.
I wish I had, Morris. Unfortunately, only half of those people thought that there was anything suspect in your behavior at all. The other half thought that we were the villains for treating you so badly. In fact, even right now, while you were on the air, there were people calling, impressed with your willingness to face your attackers head on.
You don't say. Well, where's the microphone? And now, my fellow citizens, in summation, I should like to add that I salute your continued interest in the workings of the school board. I also want to salute these dedicated young people here in this high school and in this radio station who have reminded all of us that the greatest heritage we have in this country, the greatest freedom, is the freedom of speech. And now, before I return to my lonely chambers to toil the long night through with the members of the board,
Before we begin with the team reports, I think we ought to clear the air a little bit after the fireworks.
Fireworks? It felt more like war to me, and we lost.
Just the battle, Jason, not the war.
How you figured that?
Well, I think we learned a little bit about politics, and I think Mr. Henry may have learned what to expect from future voters.
I bet you one thing. We did a number on his head he will not forget.
I think you're right, Pam. Oh, Kim, why don't you tell us what's been going on at the city council meetings?
You think the school board's got a problem. Wait till you hear these tapes.
Hello, Mr. Cowles? Yes, I wanted to talk to you about this plan to put a uniformed policeman on our campus. No, I know we have that, but I assure you a blue uniform will make the situation much worse, not better. Well, who do I talk to? Well, no, wait a minute now, Mr. Cowles. Now, I spoke to him and he referred me to you. Now, yeah, well, when does Mr. Landry get back from his vacation? Yes. Okay, thank you.
You all right?
Oh, I'm wonderful.
What did the doctor say?
Oh, nothing much. He said I have every ailment that a human being can have and a few that only horses are supposed to get. What you got?
A requisition for gym equipment.
Oh, you're joking. I signed that 3 weeks ago.
Yes, but they lost it downtown. Meanwhile, that form obsolesced and the new one was held up at the printers and they want us to reapply.
Well, I say if you're going to get turned down, it might as well be on the proper form.
So he said, you can't call me that. And so I said, I can call you anything I want to. And then he said, who said so? And then I said, the First Amendment said so. So he said, I got him there, so he pushes me. So I pushes him back. And just then Mr. Windish comes up. And he didn't see his push, he did. He just seen mine.
That's it?
Yeah.
Jason, let me give you a piece of advice. Don't take it to the Supreme Court. The First Amendment does not grant the right of insult. Now, you go apologize to Stanley Ladislaus and don't let me see you in my office again, yeah?
Yes, sir. And if you do see me, I'll try and make it a social call.
Hold it. Okay, tomorrow we'll discuss the War of 1812 and see what interest it did have. Dismissed.
Oh, Pete.
Oh, hi. You look a little tired.
No sleep. I was up all night hammering out the departmental breakdown on this new budget. Pete, I'm afraid I'm going to have to tell you I'm sorry again about your new textbooks.
Me too. I thought we were supposed to have them 3 weeks ago.
Well, I did too, but Amos Wardlaw, the new member of the school board, is conducting an investigation to make sure that the author of those textbooks is not a subversive.
Just because he spent a month in Russia?
Nobody's going to go on record as being soft on a possible communist during an election here. Hi.
Hi.
So urgent.
Robbie Carver, remember him?
Well, it's a kid that got in trouble last year, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was in correctional school.
He was. He's out on probation now. And they've sent him to Van Buren High.
So? They don't usually keep kids in the same school they were in when they got in trouble. You know that.
Well, they sometimes are except... Miss McIntyre. Yes, he is.
Thank you. Hello. Mrs. Wheeler, yes. Oh, no. Thank you, Mrs. Wheeler. School bond was defeated.
Well, we kind of expected it, didn't we?
Well, I don't know. It was close. I thought maybe... You know, there seems to be a popular notion that education is just manufactured out of air and waters and is not supposed to cost any money. I don't know what they expect us to accomplish with a kind of a budget. Okay. What about Robbie Carver?
The boys he got in trouble with last year go to Van Buren. It's the worst possible place for him. He's terribly vulnerable. We got to try to get him back here. We just have to.
Yes, I don't know that we have to. I've got reports to study, recommendations to look at.
Mr. Kaufman, take my recommendation. Make your own report.
Okay, see if you can get him in here tomorrow. I'll talk to him.
What about right now? Robbie?
Robbie, how are you?
Okay, Mr. Kaufman. Nice to see you again.
Good to see you, Robbie. I understand you're not too thrilled with Van Buren.
Mr. Kaufman, I know I have no right to be choosy. I know it's up to me what I do with my life and all that stuff. But, like,
if I stay at Van Buren, you see, there are these guys.
I told him, Robbie.
You know, Robbie, they're going to be guys any place you go. I mean, I think you just have to learn to choose your friends more carefully.
Oh, it's not that easy, man. Well, like, you know, I'm a big shot over there, being in correctional school. You know, they follow me around. They look up to me.
What makes you think it's going to be any different here at Whitman?
Because, well, I'm not much, Mr. Kaufman. I never was. Maybe in my whole life, there's only been 2 people that ever made me feel like I was somebody. Well, that's Miss McIntyre and you. If I'm gonna make it, I have to be here.
Okay, Robbie. I'll make some phone calls. Hang in, I'll see what I can do.
Thanks, Mr. Kaufman.
The superintendent says his hands are tied. Mr. Cowles, I am drowning in channels. A boy's future may be at stake here. Well, something's got to be... all right, good. Who? Oh, yeah, Charlie Fielding. All right, where can I reach him? When will he be back from Washington, Mr. Cowles? Yes.
Mr. Kaufman, my senior play opens in 2 weeks, and I'm really desperate for my muslin.
Muslin?
Yeah, you know, for the angel costumes, 14 yards. Did you forget?
I'll order it today, Miss Johnson.
Good. Hi.
Hi. Oh, speaking of phone calls, that reminds me. I better try Fielding again.
Still no action on Robbie?
14 phone calls, nothing.
Oh, Mr. Kaufman, there must be another way. I mean, there must be. We can't leave that boy in that school.
Miss McIntyre, what would you like me to do?
Excuse me, folks. I'm sorry. Miss McIntyre, I'm sorry.
I'm Mrs. Vogel. Could I talk to you for a minute?
Well, right now, Mrs. Vogel,
Oh, please.
All right, come on. Have a seat, Mrs. Vogel.
It's about Leonard's saxophone lessons. He tells me the man who gives the free lessons is leaving the school.
Yes, unfortunately, due to the failure of the school bond, we won't be able to keep our musical instructor.
Mr. Kaufman, my Leonard is not what you'd call a very intelligent boy. Just between us. You should see what a difference, all of a sudden, when he puts the saxophone in his mouth. It's a whole new boy.
Mrs. Vogel, I can appreciate what the saxophone does for Leonard, but I don't know what to tell you.
Now, I know you only got so much money to work with. Me too. But you're supposed to be giving kids a way to live after they leave here. Well, with Leonard, it's not books. It's the saxophone.
Mrs. Vogel, we can only hope that one of these days soon the taxpayers will vote us the money to hire back our musical instructor. Until then, I'm sorry.
You take time out from work to do for your kid. Nobody cares. Genuine inherited musical talent and nobody cares.
She's right. Nobody cares.
Oh, come on, Liz. What's wrong now?
I just got a call from Robbie Carver's mother. He was arrested today. A kid from that Van Buren High gang was busted for pot, and Robbie just happened to be in the car with him.
Speak to Mr. Fielding. Tell him it's too late. Carver. It's too late for Leonard Bogle. Maybe it's not too late for me.
Mr. Kaufman?
Hi.
Hi, Mr. Kaufman. Mr. Kaufman, we heard, well, I mean...
Is it true that you're splitting?
Splitting? Oh, I seem to be together pretty good.
Hey, Mr. Kaufman, we just want you to know we think you should think about it.
Thank you, Jason. But everybody wants me to think about something that I've been thinking about for a long, long time. I'm taking a year's sabbatical. I'm tired. I need a rest. After that, we'll see. This day has been something else. You know, all day long, I've had people telling me, little boy, why don't you just get yourself some sleep and you'll come back fine tomorrow. It's not like that, Pete. I've made a thought-out decision.
I know you have, but that doesn't mean we have to like it. We are affected, you know.
Well, I appreciate that, but I can't change my mind because of it either. I mean, a man gets to the end of his rope, he's either got to jump or hang himself.
What brought it to a head, Robbie Carver?
Well, that triggered it, I guess. But it's not just one thing. That's the trouble. It never is. It's evasion and red tape and going through channels, and then the channels dry up on you.
Like fighting shadows, huh?
That's the trouble. You see, I can fight as well as the next guy. Just give me a solid enemy. But these people that don't say what they mean, or they don't mean what they say, or they don't say anything because it's safer that way. I can't fight those people anymore, Pete. I've had it.
But maybe you're accomplishing more than you think you are. And maybe you're underestimating the value of your services around here.
No, I don't think so.
Do you have any idea how the kids feel about your leaving?
Well, they'll feel bad for a week, and then they'll adjust. Kids always do. That's a great thing about them. You see, Pete, I'm tired. I want out.
Oh, hi, Alice. Oh, no. Is it definite? Yeah. Okay. See you tomorrow. Bye. Just got some great news. Guess who Mr. Kaufman's replacement is going to be?
My old buddy Casey?
You should be so lucky. Paul Freebush.
Yeah, well,
I wonder if Mr. Kaufman knows about that yet.
I'm sure he does. Why?
I should think that would have some effect on his plans.
Not in his state of mind.
Oh, I don't believe that, Pete. How can he go knowing he's going to be replaced by a man who tells the papers that any student who refuses to cut his hair should be expelled?
Well, Mr. Kaufman sees an open door after 18 years, and he's not looking back.
Maybe we have to find a way to get his attention.
Like what?
Well, some of the students have been after me to throw a surprise farewell party for Mr. Kaufman.
He won't like it. But it is a good idea.
And maybe we can have a surprise guest. Why don't we invite Paul Freebush?
Pete, you know how I hate amateur theatricals. This historical drama you're dragging me to better be more important than my appointment at the barber shop.
You are a conscientious administrator right up to the end, aren't you?
I know it.
We sure gonna miss you around here, Mr.
Right.
Well, why do I feel like I'm on the Queen Mary?
Well, my uncle gave us what he had left over from his flower shop, but we all figured you'd understand the sentiment.
Thank you, Bertie. Yeah. Thank you all very much.
Come on, Helen, now it's your turn.
This is from all of us, Mr. Kaufman. Pam did the artwork.
That's very good, Pam.
Go on, Mr. Kaufman, read it.
Well, we'll all remember Whitman High with memories so dear, the games we've played, the friends we've made, the growing we've done here. But of the people we'll recall, one stands above the rest. Our Mr. Kaufman, strong and tall, we'll always love the best. can manage.
There it is. Ooh, how's that?
Thank you, Miss Jones.
Okay.
Thank you. Paul, hello. I didn't see you in all this commotion.
Seymour, I feel a bit out of place, to tell you the truth.
Tell you the truth, so do I. Pete, you know I hate surprise parties.
No, I didn't know that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Paul Freebush. This is Mr. Dixon, Miss McIntyre.
How do you do?
Acquainted with the persuasive Miss McIntyre, since we've spoken on the phone.
Why don't we all sit down here?
I persuaded Mr. Freebush to come today to sort of break the ice with the kids. We've been having a fascinating discussion.
Oh?
Yes, Miss McIntyre has some very liberal ideas.
What on earth were you two discussing?
We were talking about discipline, Mr. Kaufman.
Correction, my dear young lady. We were talking about lack of discipline and what happens when you remove the security of tried and true regulations from young people.
I didn't know we were talking about soldiers, Paul.
Oh, come on, Seymour. You know as well as I do it's the survival of the fittest.
I know that some survive and some don't. Who's to say that it's the fittest that survive?
Seymour, I really believe your decision to take a sabbatical at this time is a wise one.
Well, you do. Why?
You sound as if you can't tell the difference between healthy apples and rotten ones.
Paul, you sound like you can't tell the difference between rotten apples and human beings.
In matters of discipline, there is no difference. In order to save the healthy ones, you get rid of the rotten ones.
Has the thought ever occurred to you that the rotten ones need our attention as well as the others?
The schools have their functions. The jails have theirs.
Well, I guess the only question is, which one are we?
Whoever your future husband is, Miss McIntyre, he's got himself a handful. Well, I have to leave. Nice meeting you both. Seymour, we'll be in touch. Excuse me.
Prison's lost a first-class warden when Paul decided to become a school administrator. I may reconsider. But I may not. In any case, please don't think that you've fooled anyone with this obvious little maneuver. So, if it'll help, I'm volunteering to come to Sacramento at my own expense to give the Education Committee my views on the importance, on the desperate importance of these additional funds. Yours truly, etc., 3 copies. Okay? Thank you. All right.
Well,
Now, what are you grinning at?
Just heard the word. I don't have to tell you how glad I am to.
Well, I appreciate it, especially since I still don't have your textbooks. You know, Pete, it wasn't just Freebush that decided me, although he helped. I got a letter last night when I got home from my son. I'd written him that I was quitting, and he sent me a letter that he'd received when he was thinking about quitting the Peace Corps. Here, take a look.
I understand you're wanting to quit the Peace Corps. I understand your disgust and frustrations with the red tape and the politics, and your feelings of impotence and uselessness. You say you are of no value, but you are wrong, because when people like you quit, they tend to be replaced by people who don't care and who don't fight. And when nobody's fighting, everybody's losing. Ask the guy who called you a bleeding heart what hope he thinks there is for the world, except in hearts that bleed. With love always. Dad? You wrote this?
That'd be a lesson to you anytime you feel like giving somebody advice. You may have to eat your own words. morning.
Hi, Peter. Excuse me. I'm glad I caught you before you went to your first class.
So am I. Let's grab a cup of coffee.
We don't have time.
What do you mean we don't have time? 20 minutes before school starts.
Yes, but our meeting with Mr. Kaufman starts right now.
Meeting? What meeting?
The meeting Mr. Kaufman and I decided we should have with you this morning before your new student gets here.
I can't fit another student into my homeroom.
I know.
I've got kids in there now that need my individual attention, and I can't give it to them because I don't have time. You know, I get the feeling that I've made this speech before.
You did. Last week this time.
When we asked you to sponsor the debate club.
Then why?
Pete, because everyone's classes are overcrowded. I get this same speech from all of my teachers, the ones that care.
But this student is very special, and we thought he should be in your class.
Why is he special?
Because his coming here is part of an experimental program being sponsored by an organization called Opportunity for Youth.
The program's designed to help kids who are advanced but are held back by their circumstances.
I guess you might say Billy Sosi is the test case.
Billy
Sosi.
Sosi.
Billy is a Navajo Indian from a reservation in Utah. There's a family in our school district that's sponsoring him. Now, from all the reports I've read, he's overcome a lot of obstacles, and he's really an exceptional student.
Pete, I've got great hopes for this program. I know if it works here, other schools will pick it up.
That's why we put him in your class.
Okay, what were some of the other problems the settlers encountered moving west? Frank?
Yeah, well, most of those dudes were from the city and couldn't take that long, hard trip. And a lot of them died on the way. So you might say death was a problem.
Well, yeah. Sometimes the kids lost their parents on the way and had to do the best they could on their own.
True. Oh, man. If you fellas have something to add to the discussion, why don't you share it with the rest of us?
Well, we were just agreeing on what Helen had to say.
What did Helen say?
Well, I really didn't hear that well, but I certainly do agree on all points.
Come on, man. We can't jive the cat. Mr. Dixon, what we was trying to do is straighten out something we heard this morning.
What's that, Jason?
Oh, we heard that it was going to be this new cat coming to the school, and he was a real Navajo Indian.
Yeah, he can give us the Indian side of all that stuff we've been studying.
I'm glad to see you guys looking forward to his joining the class.
Yeah, 'cause it ain't too cool learning about the frontier out of all those textbooks, and that Indian can tell us like it really was.
Excuse me, Mr. Dixon? Come on.
He's got better timing than the cavalry.
This is Billy Sosi. Billy, I'll see you later.
Come on in, Billy. We have a seat for you right behind Bernie there.
That's me.
Billy, we were discussing the period after 1865 and the push toward the west by the settlers. I hope that you'll have something to add to it.
Hey, yeah, tell us what you think about the settlers trying to civilize the Indians. Yeah, what did you think about that?
Yeah, tell us the truth, man.
Wait a minute. Don't you think we ought to give Billy a little time to get settled first?
Billy, I know you'll like Whitman a lot. The kids are really friendly.
Say, we're going to save you a place at lunch, okay? Yeah.
See you there.
Yeah, and if you have any problems, just let us know, okay?
Hey, man, where's your next class?
English, Miss Johnson.
Hey, man, that's my next class, too.
Oh, yeah?
Man, I'll show you where it's at. Come on.
Oh, Billy. Nice to have you with us.
Thanks.
Hey, Billy, over here. Hey, man, have a seat. We've been saving you a place. Yeah, man. Jump on in, man. How you doing? Kemosabe. Huh? Kemosabe is a Lone Ranger. I thought it was an Indian word.
It's not a Navajo word.
Well, it just goes to show you, never trust the Lone Ranger.
How are your classes, Billy?
They're okay, I guess. Except they're very far ahead of where I was at the reservation school.
Oh, yeah? What's the reservation school like?
Buck?
Hey, yeah, what did you major in? War paint?
It's just a school.
Why don't you speak a little Indian for us? Say, man, why don't you get off it?
I'm only kidding.
Hey, Billy, where'd you get the silver bell?
My uncle made it.
Do you dress like that on the reservation?
Huh? Well, what she means is, nobody dresses like that unless they're on a reservation.
I did not mean that.
You want me to speak Indian? Yeah. The geese. Hey, what does that mean? It means you're crazy. Hey, wait a minute, I didn't mean anything. Hey, I was just joking.
Scott!
I can't help it if you can't take a joke.
Man, you wouldn't know a joke if it came up and hit you in your mouth.
Hey, Billy. I'm sorry for what I said at lunch today. I have a habit of saying stupid things, you know, just for a laugh.
Forget it. By the mid-1880s, the Indian wars had ceased, and most of the Indians were gathered on the reservation. Pam, the Dawes Act of 1887, how did it tie into this period of history?
Well, it said that every Indian was entitled to some land from the government. The head of a family could claim as much as 160 acres.
160 acres? They're rich. Yeah, but the government didn't give the Indians the land. It just sort of let them use it.
You couldn't sell it or use it as security for a mortgage or anything.
But wasn't that supposed to protect the Indian from land speculators and other people who were trying to take advantage of them?
Let's hear it for Big Brother Sam. Yeah, it's like the government gave the Indians their own private little reservations.
Billy, what do you think?
Huh?
I said the Dawes Act was designed to protect the Indian. Do you think it did that?
Sure. I mean, that's what the book says, isn't it?
Just giving a man a piece of land doesn't make him free. I mean, it was their land in the first place.
Then what was the purpose of the Dawes Act?
To Americanize the Indian.
How do you Americanize somebody who's already an American?
Yeah, they should have been Americanizing the pale face.
It's a very interesting point, Jason. Billy, do you think the Dawes Act helped or hurt the American Indian?
Hi there.
Hi.
Oh, either I said something wrong, which is kind of hard to do with just hi, or you just lost your best friend.
Not a friend, but I may have lost a student.
Who?
Billy Sosi.
Oh, no, Pete, what's wrong?
I'm not sure. I can't get him to respond in class. Oh, he answers all of my questions, but the answers are right out of a book. I know he has opinions, but he refuses to give them.
Don't tell me. You're talking about Billy Sosi, right?
Not you, too.
Can't get him to say much in my class either. And you know what else?
I'm afraid to ask.
I don't think he has any friends.
I've noticed that. You know, when he first came to this school, the kids couldn't wait to get at him. Now they hardly pay any attention to him at all. Except for Jason.
Jason?
Yeah, they're together all the time.
Well, then at least he has one friend.
Yeah.
Jason may be his friend, but as far as Billy's concerned, he's alone. See you tomorrow.
Bye. Bye.
Jason, you go about 5, and then you go to the sideline, all right? Frank, you go 3 steps and turn around. I don't want to hear anything. Let's go.
Hey, let's go. Hey, man, wait a minute. You forgot to tell Billy where he goes.
So who cares?
Hey, man, tell him where to go.
Just go on.
Hey!
calling you Soaring Eagle, the fastest redskin on the block. That's not very funny. Woo! Hey, circle the wagon. He's on the warpath. Take that back. Hey, man, what do you mean? I said take that back. Hey, man, what are you talking about? I didn't say nothing for you to get mad. Come on. Hey, Jake. Hey, man, what's wrong with you? Hey, man, take that back. Come on, hey, man. Man. All right. Man, look. I don't want to. Come on, man. Come on. Don't fight. Hey, man.
Guess you could say it was my fault, Mr. Kaufman.
You hit him first.
Well, that's not exactly the way it went. But still, it was my fault. I said something to him that made him lose his cool. That's why he jumped on me.
I don't need your help. I started it, okay? And I don't need him or anyone else to take the blame.
Billy, Jason was just trying to be your friend.
He's always trying to help with everything. Show me to my classes. You take up for me in front of the other kids. You even tried to make me fit in with the others. Let me tell you something. I can take care of myself. I've done it all my life, and I can do it now.
Oh, Billy?
Billy? Just a minute. Why'd you do that to Jason? The only thing that he's guilty of is trying to be your friend.
He wasn't trying to be my friend. He's just like all the rest of them.
Now, what's that supposed to mean?
Well, the only reason he ever paid any attention to me, the only reason any of them ever paid any attention to me, is because I'm an Indian. A novelty. Well, I'm tired of being the Indian.
Wait a minute. You didn't give me a chance to say I was sorry yesterday.
Hey, were you going to a rain dance?
Come on, man. What are you trying to prove? Why you dress up like that?
What did you want me to wear? Everyone wants me to look like something out of a John Wayne movie. But I didn't want to disappoint them.
Man, you some kind of a weird dude. Everybody in this school try to be your friend, and all you do is get all bent out of shape.
I don't have any friends here.
You better believe it, man. It's because you won't let them. That's why.
What would you know about it? When has anybody ever stared at you because you were different? When has anybody ever not accepted you for what you are?
You're something else, man. You know that. Where do you think I come from, man? An ice cream factory? You want to know what it's like where I come from? What am I standing here talking to you for? If you can't recognize a brother, you're sure not going to be able to recognize a friend.
Wants to drop out of the program. He wants to go back to the reservation school.
Did you ask him why?
He wouldn't tell me. He just says he doesn't belong here.
What about that family he's living with? Have you spoken to them?
Yes, I did. They want to help. But it's like Billy's built a wall around himself.
Oh, there's got to be something we can do. This program is so important. I don't want to see it just go down the drain. Billy is one of a few test cases. He's... You listen to me. Test cases. He's not just a test case. He's a young boy. And he's given up.
Well, maybe he hasn't totally given up.
I tried every way I know to reach him. He wouldn't open up to me. You're welcome to try, Pete.
Nice out here, huh?
Yeah, I guess so.
You mind if we talk a little? You missed a lot of classes today.
Yeah. I've been sitting here looking at the sky. Sometimes when I look at the sky, it reminds me of home.
That where you wish you were now?
Yeah, I guess so. It's funny, you know, when I was a little kid, I used to like living on the reservation. When I grew a little older and it seemed like all there was dirt, I thought if I could just get away from there, I'd really be free. So I worked real hard at school, so that if I ever got the chance, I could go someplace else, you know? Be something. A somebody. When the program picked me, I thought, wow, I've really got it made now. I might as well be back with my people. I thought things would be different for me. I thought I could change the way things are. But I was wrong.
You know something, Billy? Coming here to Whitman isn't a way for you to escape. It's a way for you to do something positive. Now, if you fail or give up, don't blame it on the way things are. Blame it on yourself. You see, I think the only one who's worried about your being an Indian is you.
What do you mean? I'm proud to be a Navajo.
Then why aren't you standing up in class telling those kids about it? They're not asking you questions about the reservation to get you mad. They're interested. They want to know about your people, what they have to say. Now, if you're as proud as you say you are, you tell them.
Want to go get it? Good morning, Mr. Dixon.
Oh, good morning, good morning. Okay. Yesterday we were talking about the Americanization of the Indian in the latter part of the 19th century. Now, can anybody tell me...
Sorry I'm late, Mr. Dixon.
Glad you could make it. Okay. Now, can anybody tell me some of the problems that arose in trying to assimilate the Indian into the American lifestyle?
Yeah. I can't see why it would be so hard when the government just gave them the land.
Billy?
You have to understand that for generations, the Indian had been taught a different concept of land than the white man. I mean, to the Indian, land was like water or air or sunshine. He just didn't understand how someone could own that.
But I thought the Burke Act of 1906 gave the Indian the opportunity to own his own land.
No, you don't understand. You see, there was nothing in the Indians' tradition that had prepared them to be individual farmers. And those that were ready to make a change in their way of life were usually given the worst possible kind of farmland. To the Indian, land was almost sacred. Hey, Jason. Yeah. Wait up. How about to say I'm sorry for jumping you the other day?
That's okay, man. No hard feelings.
Well, looks like Billy really has a new friend now.
Yep, I'd say so.
Yeah, you know, I knew he'd work out just fine as soon as he settled into things. I figure he's just going through a phase.
You did, huh?
Sure, he just had to learn to adapt to a new environment. Isn't it wonderful? I mean, no matter who you are or where you come from, you can fit in right here at Walt Whitman High.
Alice, I'm going to be late for class.
Oh, you're right. Hey, see you later. Bye.